it's fun right now. Yay! Well, just having a crazy week. Like, I had to go to the doctor and get an x-ray and everything, just having to deal with my car accident and everything. So, yes, I'm back, but I'm still taking pictures every day. And today I have a couple of things that I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about Monopod, how to use them, and I have one here so you can see. Obviously, it's a monopod, so it's like super long, so you can't really see the whole thing. I want to talk about some songs that I'm listening to right now. And I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm listening to I Feel It Coming right now by The Weeknd. And The Weeknd's from Canada too, so woo, Canada! And I want to talk about my YouTube channel. Today I just uploaded a tip for people who do use YouTube, just to show them how to do captions on YouTube. Basically, it shows you how to do closed captioning. Sometimes the program on YouTube, it gives you captions, like subtitles, but they're wrong. So I'm just in that video showing you how to do that. And I want to talk about a couple things that are happening in the news right now. Of course, everybody knows about the United issue, where they basically beat up this poor guy. And now I think on the news they're saying that the flight wasn't even overbooked. So basically, it was all for nothing. I don't know. So maybe I should start talking about that first. So, as you might or might not know, there was a big kerfuffle a couple days ago on a United airline flight in the U.S. And basically, everyone thought that the flight was overbooked, and so they asked people to get off of the flight, and some people didn't want to, and eventually they started like giving them vouchers for like $800, and 2 people got up and left, and apparently one guy got up and left, wanted to leave, but then they told him that the next flight is not until 3 o'clock the next day. And of course, nobody wants to stay on a plane or in an airport or in a city that you're not familiar with. Nobody wants to do that. Anyhow, so he decided to sit back down, and I guess that wasn't good enough for them, and they called the police when he didn't leave. And so they dragged him out and beat him up and dragged him down the aisle of the plane. And so everybody's talking about that right now, and how United is losing $1 billion, I think I saw, on the stock market or something like that. Their shares went down 4%, so they lost like $1 billion. Something crazy. So I don't know. It kind of seems to me like they've got to fix it right now, because if they don't fix it, there won't be any United Airlines. So, yeah, it seemed really bad. It's not really a funny thing to talk about. It's kind of like, just picture yourself in that situation. Somebody, like if you go to a restaurant, you order a meal, you sit down, you pay, you're ready to eat, and then they go, I'm sorry, this chair is for someone who's more important than you. You have to get out. You already paid and you're eating your food. It's the same kind of thing, right? Anyhow, I guess now the doctor, he really is a doctor, he had some sort of weird medical past where he like sold pills or pushed pills on people or something like that. So everyone was like, ooh, he's a criminal. Well, he had his medical license suspended for like 5 years or something like that. But anyhow, it shouldn't really matter. You shouldn't be treating anybody like that. Even if he was a jerk, you don't beat on people just because, you want them to get out of your way and make your day simpler. He paid for his seat. He should have been allowed to stay there, And then now, today on the news, they're saying that the flight wasn't even overbooked. So there's something weird going on there. Remember, United is the same company that told the little girls that they couldn't wear leggings? Same company. I don't know. I try to fly Air Canada or British Airways or, Korean Air and things like that. Or I try to get a good ticket, a good seat and things like that. I don't try to go cheap on stuff like that. So hopefully that'll help me. Like I said, today I'm actually listening to Starboy. Sorry, I'm just changing the song. Anyhow, I'm listening to Starboy right now. Everybody's listening to that. I'm sure they're listening to like 15 different types of, songs that are on there. It was really cool when that CD came out. It was like a video, kind of videography clip thing that came out on Twitter and on YouTube at the same time. I actually really like the video and like the theme for it too, because they have like a jaguar and the jaguar turns into a girl, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyhow, so I actually want to talk about the monopod. So I'm showing you the monopod right now. This is a Manfrotto Monopod. I'll just show you the tag here so you can see. Ooh, let's put it this way so you can read it. There. Manfrotto. That's just like a little kind of thing for your hand, so you can put it around here. So it can extend, as you can see. What you do is you just kind of push this little clip. It's just like using a tripod, but it's one leg of a tripod. And it extends further and further out. I think this one goes up to maybe like 8 or something like that. And then you just close the clip. You go like that, bring it in, and close the clip, and it locks, right? Okay. Made in Italy. I'm not sure how much this cost me actually. I think it was pretty cheap. Like, when I say cheap, I don't mean the quality cheap. I mean like it doesn't cost as much. I think it cost me maybe like $100, maybe $125 for it. So basically at the top you can see it's got kind of like a screw kind of thing. That's the tripod, excuse me, not tripod, it's the mount, where it kind of matches up with the bottom of camera. And then you screw it in, and say if you're at a football game, like I said before on one of my other casts, if you're at a football game, you have to use a monopod. Here in Canada, they don't allow you at certain football or soccer games and things like that to use a tripod because it's just really hard to move it. A monopod, it's easy if you've got a player running towards you, if there's a collision, or if you're in the way, you're easily able to just drop it backwards onto the ground or pick it up and move. Tripod, it's like, you know, it's heavy and cumbersome. This, you can just pick it up and move really easily. So I'm just going to show you with a camera how to put it on. This is a Nikon D80 camera. I've just got like a 50 lens on it. Maybe I'll take that off to show you what it looks like actually. It's just one of my older 50 lenses. I've got a couple of them. They update cameras and lenses, and so eventually some of the lenses don't fit on the mount. Anyhow, so you basically have this piece on the bottom where it's going to screw in, and it like corresponds to this. So you just match it up. It's got a spring in it as well. And then you just screw it on the bottom until it's somewhat tight. And there's your monopod. Okay, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to show you how to put it actually on a tripod collar, because you don't usually use a lens like this, a short lens like this. Sometimes when you're using a monopod or taking pictures of sports and stuff like that, you basically, you know, use a long lens if you want to take sports pictures, or if you're taking like nature pictures or something like that in the outdoors. So I'm just going to take it off for a second, and I'm going to put it on a different camera so you can see what it looks like. So like I was saying the other day, this is my D2X camera, and this is a long lens that I've got. I shouldn't be holding it like this, so I'm going to, you know, stop doing that really soon. But right here is the tripod collar, and here is the piece just like the other camera. So for this one, I would not actually, thank you very much for the applause. Oh, yay. That makes me so happy. Anyhow, so you wouldn't put a monopod for a camera and lens. You wouldn't put it on the actual camera because the lens is way too heavy. So you would actually screw it into the collar here, and it would kind of like balance out the weight of the camera. So for example, if you have like a super long lens, not like this one's like an 80 to 200, but if you had something that was like to 300 or something like that, it's huge and it's so heavy that if you actually put the monopod on the camera, after a while it could just freaking break. And so you're investing, say, like, I don't know, you're investing $1,000 or $1,500 just on the lens, and say another $1,000 on the camera. You don't want to damage both of them, right? And sometimes you get insurance for it too, so it's costly. Anyhow, so you line it up. There's a spring inside of the monopod. You line it up like that. I'm putting it on the collar. And then you twist it. I almost smacked myself in the face with this thing. But basically, I'm going to try to move it here so you can see. That's what it looks like. You can take off your hand. I'm not holding it anymore. But that's what it looks like. The back of the camera. Okay. So I was saying a little bit earlier, if I'm at like a football game or something, and say somebody who's really big, a football player, is running towards me, and I can't see it because I'm looking in the camera like here, and I'm trying to take a picture of them running towards me, the action, what I would do is I would peep my head up over the camera. So I'm taking a picture like that, and see I have one eye in there. I look at, straight through the camera, and then I go like that. I pop my head up every now and then just to see what's happening, to make sure they're not right here in front of me. And if they are right here in front of me, I'd spin the camera around like that on my shoulder, and I would move, or I would hold this right here, drop it on the ground gently, and usually they run right past it. They don't run on it. They don't want to injure themselves or break their ankle or anything, so, they're not going to step on a camera. And they understand that, people taking pictures of them and, making videos of them and stuff like that makes them money, so they're not going to try to deliberately damage stuff. Thank you for becoming my friend or my fan. Oh my gosh, I'm having like a weird time trying to read this with a camera on me. Anyhow, yeah. So I just wanted to show you how to put on a monopod and how to use it actually if you're in a sports situation. Using a monopod is actually a really good idea because, like, say if you're not in a sports situation, say you're taking a picture of birds, okay? And you're in the forest or wherever you are. Birds easily startle, right? So you don't want to be picking up a big object, making a lot of noise. You just want to have something that you can place on the ground quietly. Don't chip or break any leaves or anything. And you take your picture. Anyhow, so I just wanted to show you how to use a monopod. I'm going to take this off so you can see how easy it is. And you know what? I'm going to actually up and show you what a tripod looks like compared to a monopod, because you will understand when you see this tiny little thing that can be collapsed, and then you see what, I think I have a Manfrotto tripod as well. So give me 1 second. Okay, so it's not a Manfrotto, it's a Benro. And it's fully extended right now, and it's 7 feet long. So that's the head. And you'll see what I mean. It's a huge object that is going all the way to my ceiling. It's 7 feet long. So you can't use something like this at a football game. It's something that's heavy that you have to sling over your shoulder to carry and everything. You can't do that. So a monopod makes a lot more sense. Oh, I just have to lay it on the floor because it's so heavy. Okay. So today I took a whole bunch of pictures of some plays and things like that. So it was fun. The other day I actually went to this thing called Toastmasters, and it's like a group that you go to if you want to learn how to do public speaking and stuff. I thought it would be a little bit not my style, but actually I felt that I learned something from everybody at the group. So the group is called Toastmasters International, and so they're all over the world. So you can't say that you didn't know about it. And it's those people that show you how to do like toasts, you know. You do a toast with wine or water. You don't do it with beer and stuff. You know, if you're giving a speech at somebody's wedding or at like a special function and stuff like that. I'm always at those types of events because I'm always taking pictures. Like I'll take pictures at people's weddings, or I'll take pictures of politicians when they're giving a speech. And so it's actually really good to find out how to do things properly. And so now it's kind of weird. I went to one of them and I knew people there, which I was very surprised. I knew people in the group. So I went to one of them and it's just kind of like, you know, I could catch myself as I was speaking, giving my mock speech, and my grammar and spelling and punctuation. I thought, oh my gosh. And one big thing, and this is one of my big things that I learned when I was a kid, that they were talking about at this meeting was that, I did it right there. I said, So if you have nothing to say, or if you're at a break in a sentence, you don't say or or whatever. You just say, like, you take a breath, or you just close your mouth and think in your head what you're going to say next. And then, you know, because people say, yeah, whatever, you know, a lot. I used to say like a lot, and people thought I was stupid because I did that. And, you know, lots of people do that too. And I think it's like a nervous twitch for people to say like, you know, like, So, for example, if I'm talking to you now, I would go, if I said, you know, in my mind, I want to say, what am I thinking for my next sentence? Instead of saying, I would just go, and then I would, you know, go into the next sentence. Anyhow, it was really informative, and I think I might go back to the group, see what it's like a little bit more. Everybody was really welcoming, too, and like I said, I knew some people there, so it was really cool. I showed you guys earlier this camera, the D80, and I said earlier that I have a couple of cameras right now. You just saw two of them, but I have a couple of Nikon 50mm lenses. This is a 50mm. So this is what's called like a portrait lens. I said like there. This is a portrait lens. So basically, when you're taking pictures of people, just like how I'm talking to you here, you take a portrait like this, turn the camera on its side, and then take the picture. Let's see if I can turn it on and just show you what it looks like. You take the picture like that. Look through the viewfinder. I don't have a card in this right now, so I'm not going to take a picture. But that's what it looks like. So if I wanted to take a picture of a model, I would not take the picture like this. Not unless I wanted to have some of the background. If I just want to do headshots, the pictures are done this way. In portrait. That's what it means to have your camera turned to this side is portrait. This side is landscape. So if I want to take a picture of a beautiful sunrise with a model standing in front of it, I would do this. If I want to take just an average picture of a model and it's headshot, head and shoulders, everything up from here, and like say you get them in a white t-shirt or a black t-shirt and it's just a white background, you do that. And then you ask them to pose. So like for girls, usually just how I'm talking to you is how you'd have them set up, and then you'd have them turn their head like that, keep their eyes on the camera, and take the picture. For guys, you'd usually have them stare at you directly head on, and that's usually because guys have sharper features in their faces, like you see their cheekbones and their nose and everything like that, and it looks pretty cool to have, like, you know, the cast from the light coming down and giving them defined features. So that's why you usually have head-on pictures for guys, and then girls usually have, you know, their head turned this way, that way, you know, going like or something like that, doing something cool with their hands or arms or whatever, or you can tell them to like go like that or do whatever with their hands, do something interesting like that, or I don't know. But that's usually what people do. When you're turning your head and you're taking a portrait, sometimes it's because there's a blemish on their face. Like they have something here on their face, like a zit or whatever. It doesn't have to be, or like a mole or whatever. You don't want to have their face head on so you can see the little mole, unless, they're known for having a mole. So you would go like this. You'd say, look over, and then it hides the mole, right? For guys, if it's head on, you see your entire face. So you could have them go like, and still have it head on, right? Or you could have them do it at an angle or whatever. Anyhow, I totally got off track. So the 50 lens here, what happened was, this is a 1.8D lens. So it works on like D80, D300, D2X cameras that are Nikons, right? Well, I got a brand new Nikon camera. That's not the same kind of professional series like I was saying. I think it's like the D3300, and that's like a different level of camera that I got. And so this lens wouldn't work anymore. So I had to go out and get an exact same type of lens, and it's just like 1.8G instead of D. And so that works on the newer kind of less professional cameras. This was for like a backup camera. What happened was I was using my D300 camera, and I've used that camera for 7 years now, and the motor was dying. And you can tell when the motor on a camera is dying, because what'll happen is it'll start to get louder when you take the pictures, and it'll stop or get stuck. And sometimes you'll have like a picture that's white, and that's because the shutter's not working as fast as it should, because the motor's not, the motor's not behind it, triggering the mechanism in there. Anyhow, so yeah, I had to go out and buy a new lens. Just want to have a sip of water here. It was really cheap for a lens. This is probably like the cheapest lens, other than like a Lens Baby or an attachment or something like that. This is the cheapest one you're ever going to get. Or like a teleconverter that I showed you the other time. It was like $250. And it's obviously a Nikon lens. It's not a Sigma. But that's one thing I should tell you about, really. I showed you my Sigma wide-angle lens the last time I was on here. And so there are a couple companies. One is Sigma, and I think the other one's called Tamron. So they make lenses for their own cameras, but they make a lot of money making lenses for Nikons or Canon cameras. So they make, say, a long lens for doing like paparazzi stuff or like sports or whatever. They make a long lens that has a mount for a Nikon camera. So you don't have to pay $5,000 for the newest Nikon lens or $10,000. You can go to Sigma and see what type of camera you have, what kind of mount you have, and then say their lens is $2,000 instead of $5,000. So the quality of the glass is not going to be the same as a Nikon camera. Nikon camera is going to be super heavy because it's using real glass, and it's really good quality. I'm not saying that Sigma doesn't have good quality. They have excellent lenses, but it's cheaper than the Nikon one for a reason, right? So use a Sigma lens if you don't want to shell out a whole bunch of money. It has the same mount to go on. Like I said, it's bayonet. This is what I mean by mount. See those little dots up there? I don't want to touch it because it's going to have my finger grease in there. But those little dots are the contact points. That's what I mean by the mount. This little ring, the bayonet mount, okay? As you can see, my mirror is locked up in there. Did you see that?
I'll do it again so you can see the shutter. It's not ruining the camera to have this open. But that was fast, right? That was me taking one picture. Let's see if I can actually show you what it's like to have it on continuous high. So you can see what I mean when you have those really weird people, dentists, who buy a camera and then they go to like a hockey game or somewhere like that and they're like, ooh, let me follow the person. And they just, yeah, instead of taking one picture, they take like 50 pictures. I don't think I can get into the menu for this. Okay, well, I can't get into the menu for this one, but maybe I can show you on the other one. Those are the contact points on the actual lens. Matches. It matches the other side of the camera. You can see the shutter is like absolutely, it's closed. The iris is closed, I should say. And I'm just going to turn it here so you can read what type of lens it is, so you understand what I'm trying to talk about. So this is the brand Nikon. And Nikon lenses are called Nikon. It's a 50 millimeter lens, and it's a 1.8D. So that's how you read it, okay? And you know, when you're doing the settings for your camera, when you're not using auto, you can see, you know, the f-stops. F22, 16, 11, 8, so on down to 1.8. That's what I mean, okay? So we're going to put this back on. We're going to line up the dots, like I said before. Turn it. It's on! Okay, so I'm just going to show you really quickly with the other camera what I mean. Ugh. Like, you don't want to waste your time when you're taking pictures of sports. You want to track the subject, take the picture, and look in your camera. That's called chimping. But you look in your camera to make sure that you're taking the best picture so that later on, when you're taking the pictures off of the camera, off of the card, you don't have to go into Photoshop and fix already a real picture to begin with. You don't want to waste your time in. Okay, so I'm going to show you that this camera, as you can see on the little dial, is on continuous high. I'm going to move it up so you can see. It's a little CH, there's an S, a CHL, and CHH, or, you know, CL and CH there. There's a little bracketing button, flash, and everything. That's continuous low. So what it means is that when I press down on this button, the kind of like the shutter button, it's going to go ka-ching, ka-ching for continuous low. If I want S, I want to take a single shot. So it's going to go ka-ching when I press it. And then it'll be, I'll have to take my finger off and put it back on, and it'll go ka-ching again. It'll take a single shot. Well, if I'm doing continuous low, I can set it to say like 3 shots. So it's going to go ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And then continuous high, I can set it to be like 30 shots. So it can be ka-ching, you know, when you hear like a celebrity comes out, walks down the aisle of like a runway or whatever, you see the cameras are all flashing. It's like ching, 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 ching. That's continuous high. So I'm going to see if I can show you on the camera actually. I'm just scrolling through the menu right now. I might not actually be able to show you this. It's a little bit difficult to explain. I hope that I explained it there. But maybe I'll take the lens off. Maybe that'll be a little bit easier. So you'll be able to see, you know, the mirror actually move it up, like in that other camera. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on this camera because I'm having a little bit of trouble on this camera with the card that's in here. Oh, so the last time actually I was on here, I was telling you about me going to a camera store called Black's and how like the guy at the store was just really annoying. Like, I had an SD card or whatever that I was looking for one camera, and I was looking for the Nikon kind of thick card. This is what the cards look like. They're not an SD card. They're called like a compact flash card. So that's what I asked for, and he thought I was looking for an SD card. I was like, no, I'm not looking for that. Stop trying to patronize me because I'm a girl and I'm stupid. I'm looking for this one. And they hardly ever make these ones, but they're made for like the professional series of camera, right? So I have to change the song. It's becoming a really slow song. I don't know, I don't want to listen to really slow stuff. I want to listen to like upbeat stuff. I'm listening to that Renegade song, you know, the one, it's like Jeep commercials, I think that's what it is, where everyone's out back and they're kind of, you know, driving up a mountainside. Everyone loves that song. I like to blast it actually when I'm driving long distance. Today, I was blasting my music, and then I was driving along the highway, and so you're supposed to drive in the right-hand lane when you're in the highway anywhere in the world if you're driving on the right side of the road. And so I'm driving there, and the left lane is empty, except there's a car in the far left lane, you know, really far in front of me. And I was like, why is he driving there? And then he gets back in the right lane, and he goes fast. Like, I've never seen someone drive that fast before. And, you know, a lot of people on the highway here, they're driving 120 kilometers an hour. So, you know, if that is fast, 10 kilometers over the speed limit, what is, I think 80 miles per hour, that's like 110. So we're going fast. And I don't think he realized it. Almost all of the old police cars over here are like Crown Victoria cars. And so I'm looking, I was like, that's a cop. Right? The guy just blows right by the cop and doesn't stop. And then I moved over and the cop got onto the highway. I was like, oh my God. Either the cop is bored and has something else to do, or you're just lucky that he didn't chase you. I've never seen someone go that fast, you know? And like I said, most people go 110, 120, the speed limit. Okay, so this is where the card goes in. There. It's the little door you close. Ooh. There. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually show you the mirror locking up. I have to actually look at you. It's just where you go to clean the mirror. Dust off. Format. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it. I wasn't thinking of showing you this. That's okay. But that's what it looks like. Put this thing back on. Ugh. It's so heavy. So you can ask me some questions if you want. Check out my YouTube channel because I am going to go over a couple of tips about photography, but I did go over on the YouTube channel how to make subtitles, like not the subtitles that are in YouTube. I mean, like how to change subtitles to French or Spanish or Swedish or whatever. So I speak French and Spanish already, so I could check to see, you know, these are correct. What you do is you just go onto your YouTube channel, and the reason why I'm telling you about subtitles and captions and stuff for pictures is that if you want more people to watch your videos on YouTube, have subtitles so that people in other countries can read it and understand what you're saying, not just in English, right? So what you do is you go into your video in your video manager on YouTube, and I'm just going to go onto my YouTube channel actually. I think I can show you how to do it on my phone. The song I'm listening to is a Japanese one. If
you're curious. It's from, like, the closing from Inuyasha. That means dog demon in Japanese. Because that's what it is. It's like an anime. Yeah, I, like, lived in Japan when I was in high school. Let's see. I'm just trying to find my YouTube. There it is. There. I'm opening up my YouTube channel up here. I'm just going to go home so you can see. So visit my YouTube page and you'll see I just put the video up, and it's going to be like the next one after this one when I'm finished here. I'm going to stop in a little while here. But I just wanted to show you what my channel looks like. Let's see, is it going to turn? Oops, I don't want to redo it. I love this BlackBerry Priv, man. It's beautiful. Okay. So let's just go to my video so I can show you a little bit of what it looks like. The top one. So,
Not correct, as you can see on the screen. I usually say hi. This is Monique.
Yeah, that's me talking. I'm trying to get it to stop.
Select all.
Okay, so basically what you do is you go into your video manager, you pick a video out, you go to the part where it says subtitles and closed captioning. It's the same place where you go to put cards on and monetize your videos and all that. And what you do is you'll be able to see the subtitles that are automatically put in for YouTube. And I always have a problem. For some reason, YouTube cannot understand when I'm saying Monique, my name. So I have to go in and change it. It usually puts like the number 10 or Rooney or something on it. So you go in, you hit edit, you fix all of the automatic ones, then you select all, you copy it into a text file, and then you go on to Google Translate, the website, you just paste it in, and you can change the language to French, Spanish, Croatian, Swedish, Japanese, any language. There's like 100 languages listed. You can check it if you speak that language as well. And then you just copy paste it into a new file, new like text file, right next to the ones that you had. And the one thing about Google Translate is when you scroll over the text that's in the new language, it shows you highlighted text in English. So you can't go wrong there. You know exactly what it's saying as well. So you paste it into YouTube line by line, and you can match it up to the English translation as well. And then you just save it in whatever language you want. So, like I said, it's really important. I've done my Japanese translations and French, Spanish, and Hindi as well. And that just opens it up for people who don't speak English too or don't speak English at all. One person asked me to do a video in French, and so I did, but they were in Switzerland. So, you know, I could do it in French, I can do it in German or whatever language they want me to do it in. It's really easy. And you don't have to pay for someone to do it. It maybe takes you like 15 minutes to do captions and subtitles. So just go on to Google Translate and just play around with it. Type in whatever you want, pick the language, and you'll be able to see the translation. You see, I'm not lying. So you don't have to pay somebody a lot of money to translate your videos when you can do it yourself, and it takes a couple extra minutes. Okay? So I think I've spoken about everything. If you weren't here earlier, I showed people how to use monopods and how to mount the monopod onto the tripod collar or onto the camera itself. I'll show you quickly again how to do that before I leave, because I'm going to leave in like 1 minute here. But yeah, sorry, I'm changing my song one more time. I think that it wants to put on like a James Brown song. Oh, it is. Okay, I'm going to turn it up so you can hear, because this is one of my favorite ones, because it reminds me of that movie. What was it? It's Rocky. It is. It's Rocky. It's the one with Apollo. Yeah, it is a James Brown song. It's Living in America. You know, I'm not in America, but I'm technically in America. North America. Anyhow, so I'm going to quickly show you again. That's the mounting point for the monopod. So heavy. Here's the mounting pod on this one. Ah, there. Here's the tripod collar. And like I said, it's a collar. It's not actually part of the lens. It's not actually part of the lens, so you can unscrew it, you can move it around. Ooh, it's like magic. Tighten it up. Ooh. Let's grab my monopod again. Line it up. There's a screw and a hinge mounted in it with a spring. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do it this way. I'm left-handed, so it's going to be hard for me to do this with my right hand. Oh. You screw it on, make sure it's tight. Ooh. I shouldn't be doing it this way, but I'm showing you because I'm holding the lens. You can screw it on to the camera directly, but as you can see, the lens is really, like, it's a longer lens, so it's heavy, it's got a lot of glass in it. So what you do, I'm gonna hold it here, unscrew it, and then I'm gonna screw it onto the collar, not onto the camera. Ooh. Take it off. You can see the collar. I'm going to spin it. Ugh, I'm getting all tangled up. I just don't want to let go of the lens. Okay. Pop it in there. Screw it on. Okay, it's on the collar. I can move the camera, look at that, because it's on the collar now, right? So if I want, if there's a football game, I can go like this and take some pictures. If there's a nasty person across the street that I want to take a picture of, who's been spying on me, I'll take a picture of them. A lot of cameras these days have video on them too, so, you know, if you want to take a picture of somebody trespassing or whatever on your property, this kind of camera, this type of lens will take pictures across a football field. Okay, how many yards are in a football field? Is it 100, 110? I think in Canadian football it's 110 or something like that, right? 50-50, center line, yeah, I think, and then the end zone, so it's like 110. So this camera is going to catch something 110 yards away, right? So it's really nifty, really handy, and like I said, you want to use a monopod, not a tripod, at those types of events. And also, like I said, I didn't say it very often, actually. You would turn it this way. Once it's all tightened, you turn it this way, you hold on to the monopod, and I'm resting the weight of the lens on my shoulder. So even though this is taking some of the weight, my shoulder's taking some of the weight too, just to make sure I don't break it. And you know, it is really heavy to carry something like this just in your arm. You hold two hands on it to make sure that you don't break it and to make sure you don't break your back. Okay, so it's time for me to go. I hope you guys learned something or you enjoyed something watching this. And yeah, I'm not going to actually use this for any bad reasons. I'm going to use it for sports and for like bird watching and taking pictures of animals at the zoo or on safari and stuff like that. I wouldn't actually paparazzi somebody with this. But sometimes where I would use it in like my job, for example, if there's a fire and I can't get near the fire because it's too dangerous for me, it's too hot and I don't want to melt the camera or whatever, I don't want to melt me or like hurt myself because of the smoke,
I can get behind a fence. This is a really neat trick that I want to tell you before I'm leaving. So, I've used this before on chain link fences. You get right up close to the fence. So the fence is like right there. You zoom your camera in. It makes the fence disappear because it's so close to the lens zooms right through it. The chain link fence disappears, and it's like you're taking the picture of whatever's behind the fence clearly. Really, really neat trick. So I've done it for like a baseball game, because you know at the back of baseball games there's like a little dugout for media, but there's like a fence. You know, it's the batting cage kind of area where, like, you know, the pitcher is on the mound, and you know you're behind the player, the baseball player. That's the area that's got the chain link fence. So you get really, really close and zoom in, and if you zoom in enough, you can make the fence disappear. You don't have to be over the fence or cut out the fence or whatever. Okay? So that's my last tip for the day. And, you know, check out my YouTube channel if you want to get any more photo tips or YouTube tips, or like tips on how to use iMovie. The last video that I did was how to put subtitles on your YouTube videos so that people understand in different languages what you're talking about really easily. And you can do that yourself, so you don't waste money getting somebody else to do it when it takes like 5 minutes. So do that. Once again, my YouTube channel is Monique Massiah. That's my name. It's real. So just type in Monique Massiah and I'll show you photography tips and things like that. So happy photos. Bye.